Vintage PVC fittings. Let's start with this Genova PVC Y. Most PVC fittings are Schedule 40, but this is actually Schedule 30. Schedule 30 was more common back then. It's still made, but the whole idea with this is you can fit it inside a 2x4 wall. This is the smallest pipe you can use for a toilet. Now this is a Y fitting. You would usually use this to cut into a main drain line, so you'd cut this in your main drain line, and this could go off to a toilet. Now these usually would be used in conjunction with a 45 fitting to make a combo. These Y fittings can only be used on their back or on their sides. If you use them upright, it'll siphon out a nearby P-trap. Let's take a look at the fitting. See, these nubs are for a thing called the Genova twist lock plug. Genova only makes the Schedule 30 twist lock plugs. They used to make Schedule 40 twist lock plugs. So if I wanted to, I could use a new Schedule 30 twist lock plug with this. See, it says Genova NSF DWV. DWV means drainless and vents. That means use this for a sink drain, bathtub drain, and the vent that goes up through the roof. The part number is 61030, and the patent number is 3677301. That was for the Genova twist lock cleanout. Here's what the fitting would look like if it was new. You can see how there are no nubs, but for some reason they kept the part number the same. Now this is another Schedule 40 fitting. This is a 3x2 inch fitting. This is a double reducing T. This is also made by Genova. You can see how this one has the same twist lock nubs, but since this is a Schedule 40 fitting, they no longer make the twist lock plug for it. See, the back is the exact same. So, still Genova. NSF DWV hasn't changed. 73532 is the part number. It was UPC approved. For some reason, they don't put UPC on fittings anymore, and the same patent number. And you can see that's probably where the plastic went through in the mold. Here's another Schedule 40. This is a Y fitting. Someone spilled some sort of resin. I don't know what that stuff is, but it doesn't come off. For some reason, on these Y and T fittings, Genova put all the important stuff upside down. So you'd have to flip the fitting upside down to read it. Genova NSF DWV, UPC approved. The part number is 71020, and it's the same patent number. Here's a Genova double Y, and this would usually be used under a kitchen sink, mainly in New York. In New York, they use 2-inch for their kitchen sink drains. So you could have this coming out of the wall, twist lock clean out in the middle, have straight 45 going to one end that could go off to a P-trap, that end could go off to the disposal. In New York, the wall stub out has to be 2-inch. You could use this here in Wisconsin, but 2-inch is overkill for sink drains here. Here's a standard Genova 90. Now the issue with these is you can't use them like in a horizontal position like this or like this because it doesn't meet the plumbing code. You can only use it upright, and usually people just use long sweep elbows. If you use it upside down, there are many issues with clogging. See, they only put the twist lock nubs on one side. In the 70s, they used to put them on both sides, but in the 80s, they only put it on one side. Genova NSF DWV UPC approved. The part number is 728 15. Really, the only thing that changes on these fittings is the part number. Now, here's a fitting that's made by a brand that doesn't make fittings anymore. This is a Crestline fitting. And Crestline is still around, but they only make the pipe. It's like the pipe that would connect these fittings. They stopped making the fittings. This fitting could actually be from the 70s. But this is a street fitting. This is designed to fit in the hub, and a pipe is designed to fit in the other end. So it's kind of hard to see, but it says Crestline. I don't know where the part number is. No, that's probably the part number there. It's kind of hard to see. NSF-DWV. And that is the head of a screw. When they're screwing these molds together, the screw head would show up in the plastic. Here's a U-brand fitting. U-brand fittings look a lot like older Mueller fittings. I don't know why, and the way the pipes fit together, they fit a lot like a Mueller fitting. I don't know, so it does still say NSF-DWV. I assume that's some sort of part number. The screw head that's used to hold the mold together. See? That's the U-brand logo. That's a newer U-brand logo. On the inside. And here's some fittings. These are a little bit newer. Here's a Genova Street Elbow. This is probably from the early 90s. But, see, Genova, PVC, NSF-DWV. The part number is 72740. The patent number is the same. And it's still made in the USA. But you can see this is a lot different. Look at, the nub is gone. You can actually kind of see where the nub used to be and where they filled that area in where the molds were. This is probably one of the last fittings that was made in the mold, because you can see how the mold is starting to do a crummy job. And then here's an 1.25" Mueller fitting. Probably from the 90s, early 2000s. Now these 1.25" Mueller fittings, you can only buy these on websites that sell to only plumbers for some reason. I was never able to figure that out, but these are very hard to find. This looks a lot like that U-brand fitting. See? Mueller, UPC approved. I don't know what the part number is. NSF-DWV, and it was made in the USA. A lot of these older PVC fittings, they wouldn't put made in the USA on them.